So hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ames's Corner. How's everyone doing out there? So Mother Nature just won't let us go. It's April 2nd. We had an April Fool's storm yesterday. Snowed all day, almost 24 hours straight. Wasn't a ton of buildup, but boy, it is some messy, heavy stuff. So I've had a lot of plans to make some really cool videos where we take the Sonnet out for a drive. We got that all re-registered. I want to take the 96 out, and but the problem is this winter just won't let us go. I think this is like the 10th weekend in a row we've had nasty weather. So I think today would be a good chance to get maybe get the Sonnet out here, get that thing dug out, maybe bring it to the shop, put it up on the lift and see how well it's fared this winter. We really didn't drive it a lot. We had just a nasty weather, cold, and a lot of salt on the road and the way that goes. So yeah, why don't we set up? I got to get some cars cleaned out. Let's do a few cold starts. Start off with the rally wagon, because I can't get anything out till I get this out of here. This thing's just been awesome in the snow with the lift kit and those winter force front tires on it. This thing has just been unstoppable in the snow. No complaints with the rally wagon. Get the Sonnet to the shop. Let's just clean off the old lady's car. Nice. Oh. Oh, there's this wonderful Maxima belt noise. Tension is broken. I'll put a new one in someday. What the? Oh man. Sounds like the flex pipe's broken in the old lady's Maxima. Great. One more thing to fix, boys. One more thing to fix. Oh, the Sonnet is got a good cake of snow on it today. Let's see if the doors open up. I know I've said it before, the problem with these Sonnets in the winter. Oh, we're in like Flynn. Oh. Oh. This sure is a cold start here. Like it's never shut off, huh? Go, Sonnet, go! Oh. Nice. I like it when they just start right up. So yeah, boys, let me move some cars around, clean some snow off. Let's go to the shop. Looks like we got two going to the shop today. See if we can get the Maxima fixed up and get this thing looked at. All right, guys, I'm gonna let these things warm up and clean out. We'll see you guys at the shop. But all in all, it's held up pretty well. This car, when I first, I don't want to call it restored, when I first rust stored this car, I only expected it to last about one summer. And we were going to turn this thing into like a kit car, but it just keeps trooping along. And that seems to be the consensus on a lot of these old V4 Saabs. Once you get them going, they just don't want to stop. But yeah, stuff going on with this car that I'd like to deal with this year. I'd like to do something with the headliner. I get a lot of questions about what's going on with the headliner here. Well, it used to have like a velour or a pleather material like right here, this tan material. But over the years, the glue wore out and it was hanging for some time. It got kind of tattered and moist around the edges, so I just ripped it down and then I scraped as much of the old glue off so it's not falling down. It just left this stain looking thing to it. I did take some of the orange paint I've used to patch the interior and spritz it up here. I was thinking on painting that, just painting the whole roof. And I think when I finally get around to doing it, that'll be a a just fine way of dealing with that problem. But there are other issues with the car that cosmetic stuff like that I'm really not too worried about. One thing you can see with this out, you can see the metal stiffening system. This isn't a complete fiberglass shell. There's a steel parts running where they need to do, so to bring the force from the A pillars to the B pillars, there's a nice metal strengthening support. Plus they have the roll bar built in. Roll bar these cars all have. You can actually see a little bit of the remnants of that velour that I removed on the other side of it. We'll probably just leave that piece and paint around it. All important fire extinguisher, and that has saved this car once from burning. This car did catch on fire once, and it was a non-event because I was able to grab that and put the fire out. Some other stuff going on with it. We can see the wiring under the dash is just a bundle of snakes, big rat's nest. I'm nervous to tackle into it because, you know, like I said, there's other things that need attention. We'll get to that shortly. But everything, just about everything works. Everything works enough to get an inspection sticker, which is still a good sticker on there. The heat really doesn't work. The fan doesn't blow. I think there's just some wiring issue. Maybe the fan motor's, you know, seized up. I never really looked at it. It wasn't a concern of mine when I first put the hood back on. The trouble is you're going to take the whole nose of the car to get to the HVAC system, you know, and I'm not going to take the nose off of this car until we go round 2 on the restoration of it, whether that be I pull this thing apart and completely restore it or find another chassis to fit under it, which has always been my goal with the Sonnet, is to put something late model underneath it, maybe an all-wheel drive Subaru drivetrain or something. Back here, everything's going great in the trunk. That's where the battery is in these. Yeah, nothing really going on here. All the metal work's been done. We raised the trunk up a bunch just to put a different exhaust, which I've still yet to do because this one has yet to rot off of it. And the body's a little bit, you know, it's a little rough around the edges. This was painted many years ago. I don't know what they used, but it was really thick, and you can see it kind of, you know, doing its thing. The trouble is again, to repaint the car would be so much work when the car just, I never expected it to last this long. So I don't mind the patina of it. I don't mind the look of it. When I bring it to a car show, it looks good enough that people, you know, don't seem to complain. And I don't mind if someone rubs up against it with their belt loop or a zipper on their jacket. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you ain't gonna hurt it. You know, I'd like to have a car that can be enjoyed, and I don't want to drive it and have to park it at the end of a parking lot worried about every shopping cart rolling by it. This here, you know, if I want to throw a tool on it, whatever, you know, it ain't gonna hurt it. I kind of like that. So let's look under the hood. This is where we got some issues going on lately. And there's that Taunus V4. So one thing I've been noticing is when I drive it, I get a lot of smoke in the cabin. And I think the valve cover gaskets, they're just cork valve cover gaskets. I think I replaced them about 4 years ago, and I think it's time to replace them again. Looks like this breather probably needs to be replaced. We got a lot of sludge around there. And then what's been going on, the worst thing with this car lately is I've been losing clutch fluid. This here is the clutch reservoir, and I had to top it off before I left, and it's leaked all out. I mean, I only filled it about halfway. I knew it was going to leak out. I never really lose the clutch pedal, but it is definitely leaking. Let me see if we can get down inside of here and show you guys the slave cylinder on this car. So the slave cylinder is right here, and I've got the boot moved over a little bit so I can see what's going on, and I can see the clutch fluid. Yeah, see, that's all the clutch fluid leaking out of the slave cylinder. So it looks like we're going to be rebuilding or replacing the slave cylinder. We'll put that on the list. We got a little list here. My assistant wants to help out a little bit. Why don't we put clutch slave cylinder on that list. No swearing. So the slave cylinder needs to be rebuilt. Another thing, when I put these new tires on, when we got the 96, I swapped the old crusty cracked tires from the Sonet and put some brand new what are they, Nankangs on here. They were just a good inexpensive tire to put on. However, we didn't have wheel weights that would fit the wheels correctly. I didn't want to use stick-on, so I couldn't balance them. They're unbalanced. So that's another thing to put on the list. Balance the wheels, or get the right wheel weight so I can balance the wheels. So if I go over like 65, it starts to shake the steering wheel, and that's because, you know, I didn't have the time to take care of that problem. What else do we want to deal with sooner than later? Why don't we get this thing up on the... Man, all right, we got it up on the lift. Let's see just what this winter's done to it. Let's see if the fluid film we put on it did its job. So first thing I want to talk about back here is these two little patches. These would have been the holes through the body that the US spec ugly bumpers would have mounted through. This would have come with bumpers that stuck out almost a full foot behind the car, and they just look ludicrous. They look ridiculous on it, front and rear. A lot of people shave them off and just let the original roll pan. Most people just patch these holes. We can probably see them. Yeah, you can see this little hole right there, right with the tape on the other side. All this is some of that aluminum tape with the orange paint, which is starting to look a little haggard. But a lot of people just patch the holes and then run the exhaust out the side here. What I want to do, and when I restored the car, or rust stored the car, is I raised the trunk. Usually the trunk would have sat flush. This is kind of hard to translate, hard to film. But the trunk used to sit flush right here, right with the bottom of this lip on the body here. And that gave you, you know, more trunk space, places to put the spare tire, and then cargo on top of that. But this car is cargo carrying days. You know, let's be honest, they never had any. Who puts cargo in a Sonnet? So what I did was I raised the trunk up. I added a stiffening rail here, and I raised the trunk up a good 5 inches. And the plan is to put two Flowmaster mufflers, just like on the Super Scoot, tucked right nice and up in there, and then two nice chrome tips coming out the out those holes with some nice rings around, heat deflecting rings. I think that'd be a real trick way to do the exhaust on this car, but I'm waiting for this exhaust to completely give up, and it just keeps going and going, mostly because the pipes are all stainless. This is all stainless. I don't know who added this. A couple resonators, and then straight pipe right up to the front, and then a crossover up here. But I don't know who put this exhaust on, but man, it's what makes this car sound so good. And these aren't even, I don't even think these are mufflers. I think these are resonators. Another question I get is, why do the tips both come out the same way? Why wasn't that, you know, designed to come out different or down or something? The thing is, when these exhausts were made, they were both the same part number. And someone got two of the same part number and just put it on. I've left it like that because it's just one of those quirks of the car. It's how the car came, and you know, I think it's just kind of a little thing that, you know, has people wondering, why do they kick off to the driver's side? And it's, well, because of the mounts. See the mount on the top? You have to have that mount there, which means that pipe kicks that way, and there's the same part number with the mount up top, which means that one kicks that way too. And I've just left it because I'm waiting for the Flowmaster setup, which it's looking like it might be sooner than later. Looks like this pipe, this silencer here, or this resonator, muffler, slash, whatever you want to call it, looks like that might be about at the end of its life. So maybe we'll get a couple of Flowmaster mufflers once I finish paying off my parts bill. So we got a little bit of metal work coming. We got a little rust hole right here, which has been slowly getting bigger and bigger, that we got to patch up. The floors, all the patchwork that I did is all perfectly fine. If I remember back here, the rear of the rockers need a little bit of help. This side, I believe, is a little worse. Yeah, up in here. These are areas on the 96 that were completely rotted out. Now that I fixed the 96 so well, I'm not afraid of that at all. That's nothing compared to the 96. On the 96, this whole rocker was gone, and I built the whole rocker, and it looks like I'm going to be building rockers for this one. Looks like she's getting a little punky around this area, which I expected to happen. Like I said before, I didn't expect this car to last a whole summer, and here we are 5 years later, and I still drive it all the time. Alright, up front here, I noticed last time we had it in, we have a little bit of water pump leaking. You see right there, that's the water pump with a belt pulley on it, and you can see, I see a little bit of coolant coming from it, so I got to keep an eye on the coolant level. But yeah, it's going to be time for a water pump sooner than later. Not an easy job on the Sonnets because there is no way to get up there. Another problem with this car, if we can see it from here, is the plastic coolant fan gave up on me. It looks like it's broken. It's been broken. That's that red thing right there. Got a couple of cracked blades on it. So I need a new coolant fan. A lot of oil, and then that's all coming. You see it coming down from this valve cover. This driver's side valve cover is leaking really bad. I have a set of valve cover gaskets. That's not really an issue. And then here we got, this puddle right here is all the clutch fluid leaking out of that slave cylinder. It leaks out pretty fast. That a lot of you guys that might know these cars are asking, you're asking, where are my straps? There should be some straps to limit the downward travel of the suspension. And one issue, if I was ever to, you know, lose contact with the ground and, sorry about the camera angle, and jump this car, the suspension springs could technically, let's see if we can get this out of there. Yeah, you know, that's got to be the easiest spring in the world to take out of a car, but it shouldn't quite be that easy. I'm not really worried about it. Get this in with one hand, because I drive this car so easily. You know, I'm not gonna go jumping speed bumps and curbs with it. I don't think it would like that very much. So, is that?
You said something else.
The exhaust. Let's put the exhaust on the list for this year. Let's get this thing some nice Flowmasters up under there. It's time. I definitely think it's time. What do you guys think? You think it's time for some Flowmaster mufflers on the Sonnet? I hope it doesn't change the sound too much, because I really do like this thing's burble. I like this thing's voice. I think it'd be a good time this year. You know, I was going to say change the transmission fluid, but that drain plug is kind of scary. There's something about these V4 cars. These drain plugs can be a real bear to get out. But we might just suck the fluid out with a vacuum extractor and put some fresh fluid in there and not even touch that can of worms. So yeah, that's about everything the Sonnet needs. I gotta say, for a car I didn't think was gonna last a year, 5 years out, and he's holding up pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with how well the Sonnet's been holding up. So we got a little bit of a list going for this season, stuff to get done before the car show season. We got the clutch slave cylinder, balance the wheels, water pump, valve cover gaskets, rear spring limiters, some exhaust work, headliner. Let's put the headliner. We don't want to fix that headliner this year too. Especially if we're going to bring this to car shows. We should probably get it looking good. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And for you guys wondering, the old lady's Maxima needs a flex pipe. That right there is blown out. So add that to a list of stuff I got to fix real soon, is put a new flex pipe in the Maxima. And this car's been a great car. I love this thing. Maximas are just so fast, and they handle so well for a four-door car. The old lady, however, the old lady hates it. You hate the Maxima, right? I love this thing. For a $1,400 car that we bought 50,000 miles ago, that's needed like nothing but tires and now a flex pipe, I think it's great. I know you hate it, but I love it. But anyways, yeah guys, we got a good list on the Sonnet for this year. We got the clutch slave cylinder needs to be fixed, balance the wheels, the water pump, valve cover gaskets, rear spring limiters. We got the exhaust work, Flowmasters. I can't wait to see how this car sounds with a pair of Flowmasters. Fix the headliner or do something about the headliner, and the coolant fan needs to be replaced. Whether we replace it with the same fan, which I've been told is very, very rare, or replace it with an electric upgrade, we'll have to see and make a decision on that. So we have some parts to track down. We need the slave cylinder rebuild kit, a water pump. The valve cover gaskets, believe it or not, are very local because this is a Ford Taunus. This was used in a lot of other cars. Stuff like that is going to be easy to get. These rear spring limiters, I'm going to have to make those. The Flowmaster exhaust, I'm going to have to make that work. And that's pretty much that. Not a bad list, not a long list by any means for a car that, you know, needed so much a few years ago and I've done so little to but enjoy and drive and drive and drive. See if we can get a slave cylinder or a rebuild kit first. That's priority one because this thing is just leaking a ton of fluid. And that could be a problem in traffic if that gives out and stops working all of a sudden. That could make it impossible to stop this car and idle into the people in front of me. Would not make me happy. So anyways, guys, yeah, it's been a tough, long winter. I can't wait till it's over and get some more adventure stuff going out there. Get this drone videos of my cars. We'll get the 96 probably up here next weekend and see what that thing needs because, you know, project cars always need more than you see. So anyways, yeah, thumbs up are much appreciated. Comments down below. I read them all even though I don't have the time and sometimes YouTube won't let me respond to them. Thank you, YouTube. If you have any questions, car questions, leave them down below. I'll read them. Or check out my Facebook group, Ames's Automotive Corner Facebook group. It's a lot easier for me to answer questions there, car questions there, than it is through YouTube. And on that note, guys, and until next time, keep it out of the cabbage.